I reached the village just as the sun began to sink behind the hills. The road behind me felt longer than it had a moment ago. There was no signboard to tell me where I was. The fields around the village were dry and colorless. Even the wind seemed afraid to move. The houses were built too close to each other. Their walls leaned inward like they were listening. Most windows were covered with dark cloth. No light escaped from inside. The silence felt intentional. I stepped forward and my footsteps echoed loudly. That sound did not belong here. An old man sat near the entrance of the village. He was carving something into a piece of wood. He did not look up when I spoke. His knife moved slowly and carefully. The carving looked like a sun with deep cuts across it. I asked him, "Is this village had a name?" He stopped carving immediately. The air tightened. "You shouldn't be here," he said quietly. His voice carried no anger, only warning. I told him I was just passing through. That answer made his hands shake. "Passing through is fine," he said. "Staying after sunset is not." I tried to smile. No one smiled back. I realized others were watching me. Faces appeared briefly behind curtains. Doors closed softly one by one. A woman pulled a child inside without a word. The child never looked away from me. His eyes were wide with fear. I asked if there was a place to stay for the night. The old man finally looked up at me. His eyes were pale and tired. They looked like they had seen too much. "Leave before sunset," he said. I looked toward the hills. The sun was already touching them. Shadows stretched across the ground unnaturally. They moved even when nothing else did. The village felt smaller suddenly. I walked deeper inside despite the warnings. Strange marks were carved into every door, deep scratches running vertically. Like someone counting days, or people, some doors had many marks. Others had very few. None were clean. A young woman brushed past me. She smelled like smoke and fear. "People leave in the morning," she whispered. "But not everyone who arrives leaves." I asked her what happened after sunset. She stepped back immediately, her face drained of color. "Do not be outside," she said. "And do not answer voices." I heard a bell ring once. Then again, the sound felt ancient. Panic moved through the village silently. Lamps were lit behind closed windows. Locks slid into place. I noticed an empty house near the well. Its door was wide open. Fresh footprints led inside. They did not lead back out. The bell rang a third time. The sun disappeared completely. Darkness fell too quickly. The old man's voice echoed behind me. "Whatever happens," he said, "do not answer if someone calls your name." I opened my mouth to respond, but stopped myself, because from somewhere behind the houses, from a place I could not see, someone whispered my name. The voice sounded familiar. Too familiar. My skin went cold instantly. I did not turn around. The village went completely silent. The whisper came closer, and I realized I was not alone anymore. I stood frozen as the whisper faded into the darkness. The village felt like it was holding its breath. No lights flickered anymore. No footsteps moved. Even the wind had stopped. I reminded myself of the warning not to answer. My name echoed again, softer this time. It sounded closer than before. I felt it behind my ear. I did not turn around. I forced my legs to move toward the nearest house. The door was locked tightly. I knocked once, then twice. No one answered. I knocked harder. A curtain moved slightly inside. An eye appeared for just a second. Then it vanished. The door remained closed. I was alone outside. Something scraped against the ground nearby. The sound was slow and uneven, like something being dragged. I backed away slowly. My heart pounded in my ears. From the corner of my eye, I saw movement. Shadows detached themselves from the walls. They stretched and twisted unnaturally. They did not follow human shapes. They followed hunger. A scream suddenly broke the silence. It came from near the well. It was short and sharp. Then it stopped abruptly. As if something had covered a mouth, I ran toward the sound without thinking. The open house near the well stood darker than the rest. Its doorway looked like a wound. The smell inside was unbearable. Old blood and damp earth filled the air. I stepped inside slowly. My foot touched something warm. I looked down and froze. A shoe lay on the floor, still occupied. The rest of the body was missing. Drag marks led toward the back wall. The wall was solid stone. There was nowhere to go. The scratching sound returned behind me. I turned and saw a figure standing in the doorway. It looked human at first glance. Its face was familiar. Too familiar. It was mine. The thing smiled with a broken mouth. Its eyes were empty holes. It whispered my name again. I screamed and ran past it. My shoulder burned as it brushed against me. Outside, more figures emerged from the shadows. Some crawled, some walked backward, some wore the faces of villagers. Others wore faces I recognized. I ran blindly through narrow paths. The village layout had changed. Paths led nowhere. Houses stood where they hadn't before. The bell rang again. This time it rang from everywhere. I fell to the ground, covering my ears. The whispers grew louder. They begged me to answer. They promised safety. I screamed for help. That was my mistake. Every shadow turned toward me. They moved fast, too fast. A hand grabbed my ankle. Another pulled my arm. I felt myself being dragged toward the darkness. The ground scraped my skin raw. I kicked and screamed. Suddenly, everything stopped. The shadows retreated at once. The bell fell silent. The sky began to lighten. Dawn had arrived, but the village was missing someone. Morning light revealed a village pretending to be normal again. Doors opened slowly, as if nothing had happened. People stepped outside and avoided my eyes. No one asked why I was bleeding. No one asked who screamed last night. I ran to the well immediately. The open house was sealed shut. There were no drag marks on the ground, no blood, no shoe. I counted the houses like the woman had told me. There were fewer than yesterday. One entire home was missing. In its place was bare dirt, as if it had never existed. I confronted the old man near the entrance. He was carving again. Another crossed-out son joined the others. His hands were steady now. "You survived the night," he said. I demanded answers. He sighed and stood up slowly. "The village is hungry," he said, "and hunger must be fed." I told him that people were dying. "No," he corrected me. "People are staying." He pointed toward the ground. "This place is alive. It needs voices after sunset." He explained that long ago the village was built on something ancient, something buried and starving. It could not leave the earth. So it learned to call. It learned to mimic. Anyone who answered became part of it. Anyone who stayed outside after sunset was taken. Their homes disappeared with them. Their names were forgotten. Balance was restored by morning. "Why don't you leave?" I asked. The old man looked at the scratches on his door. "We already answered once," he said. "Now we belong to it. Leaving would wake it fully." I packed my things and ran toward the road. The path twisted as I followed it. Trees closed in unnaturally fast. The sky darkened again. The sun was setting. I ran harder. My name echoed from every direction. The voices sounded desperate now. Angry. Hungry. I reached where the road should have been. There was nothing there, only dead fields and silence. The bell rang behind me. I knew I was too late. The village lights flickered on. Doors opened one by one. Villagers stepped out smiling. They were waiting for me. They called my name gently. I backed away screaming. The ground beneath me pulsed. The earth breathed. Shadows rose like hands. I felt myself sinking. I understood then why no one escaped. The village does not kill you. It keeps you. It learns your voice. It waits. The sun disappeared completely. Darkness closed around me. My scream was swallowed by the ground. The village grew quiet again. Another home vanished by morning. Tomorrow, a traveler will arrive. The villagers will warn them. They will not listen. They never do. The village will call again. And now it knows my voice too. It will use it after sunset, to lure the next one in, just like it lured me.